high quality, iconic design, and under the radar. Today we're going to be talking about a watch that's gone under the radar for far too long. A watch that many are aware of but few fully appreciate. Any guesses? The OMEGA Constellation. Now when I say OMEGA Constellation to most people, it brings to mind an image of a bimetallic, funky watch from the 80s, with unusual claws on either side of the case. The Constellation Manhattan, as it was known, was a hugely popular watch, and its iconic design still influences the current collection. But that's not the Constellation that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the originals. The Constellation has its roots in 1948, which was a pivotal year for Omega. Aside from the launch of the Seamaster line, it was the centennial year of the brand, which was celebrated by the production of a watch known as the Centenary. The gorgeous Centenary was the first Omega to have an automatic chronometer-rated movement. The automatic watch was still very much a novelty, so when Omega combined the convenience of a self-winding movement with the precision of chronometer-grade timekeeping, all wrapped up in a slim, luxury dress watch package, the people wanted more. And while the Centenary was limited to 6,000 pieces, 4 years later, in 1952, Omega launched the Constellation line. Every Constellation had an automatic, chronometer-rated movement with centiseconds, and they represented the pinnacle of the brand's watchmaking prowess, and became the flagship Omega watch. The designs were beautiful. With polished angular arrowhead markers and Dauphine hands, there was a strong Art Deco influence in the dials. This was enhanced later that year with the first so-called pipe hand dial, making its debut on the Constellation Deluxe in solid 18-karat gold. The pipe hand dial was heavily domed, with 12 facets radiating out from the dodecagonal seconds track. This iconic piece of design has become synonymous with constellations from the 50s and 60s. The Constellation logo was a depiction of the Geneva Observatory to represent the timing trials that Omega had performed so well at. You can see 8 stars on the medallion, which each signify 8 precision records that Omega set at Kew, Teddington and Geneva. Impressive timekeeping standards aside though, let's talk about the design. As we progressed through the 60s, the Art Deco-inspired designs gave way to a more streamlined, minimalist, and angular approach. This was when a certain watch designer decided to lend his talents to Omega and revolutionized the designs of the Constellation. Gerald Genter of Patek Philippe Nautilus and Audemars Piguet Royal Oak fame designed the cases for 2 Constellations. These are known to collectors as the Sea Case and the Dogleg Lugs. These 2 gorgeous pieces are iconic and highly sought after by collectors, but considering their heritage and quality, still very undervalued. And it's only been in recent years where these watches have overtaken their Seamaster dress watch compatriots from the same period. People forget that the Seamaster originally came from rugged, rough and ready watches, and they were the workhorse of the Omega family, whereas the Constellation was the flagship from the get-go. The most expensive watches that they made, and with good reason. But time is running out to try and get really high quality Constellations. A lot of the beauty in these, especially the Genter designed cases, is the edges and the finishing that exist when they've been more or less left to their own devices. Anytime these were ever taken to a watchmaker or for a service, they almost certainly would have been polished. And you lose a lot of the facets and corners which really make the design. I'm a huge fan of the Constellation, and so I always try and make sure that we have a good selection of them at the shop. So come by and have a look. I'm Daniel Somlow, and you're watching The Luxury of Time.